Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss on the topic refraction through a prism. So in this topic refraction through a prism, we will see for the angle of deviation. We will derive the equation for the angle of deviation and minimum deviation. So let us take the transverse section of the prism. So this is the transverse section of the prism. So here is the angle of prism, that is A. This is the angle of prism, that is A. So now we will consider a ray which is incident on this surface. Let us consider this ray which is incident on this surface, and let us draw a perpendicular to this surface. Let us draw a perpendicular to this surface. So if we draw a perpendicular to this surface, this will be somewhat like this. Okay, so this is the perpendicular to this surface. So now we are going to draw the refracted ray. This ray, after striking this surface, will undergo refraction. This ray will undergo refraction after striking this surface. So this is the refracted ray. That is, this ray has undergone refraction, and this ray came near the normal. This ray approached the normal. So this ray was away from the normal, and this ray has approached the normal. That is, this is the angle of incidence. This is the angle of incidence, and this is the, let us say, this is the angle of refraction. Let us say it to be R1. Let us say it to be R1. So this ray, after striking this surface, will undergo another one refraction, and it will pass in another one direction. This ray, after striking this surface, has undergone another time refraction, and it has passed in this way, and it has passed in this way. So let us draw the normal on this surface. Let us draw the normal. Let us draw the normal on this surface. Let us draw the normal on this surface. Suppose this is the normal. This is the normal to this. This is the normal to this surface. So we will say this to be angle of emergence. We will say this to be angle of emergence. So here we have considered it to be R1. We have considered it to be R1. So here we will consider it to be R2. That is, if this is angle I1, we can say this E to be I2. This E to be I2. If we say this angle to be I1, this E can be said to be I2. If we take this ray from this side, if we take this ray which has passed in this way, if we take this ray from this direction, then this will be I2. So E will be equal to I2, and I is, and the first, the previous angle of incidence which we have said it to be I1, and if this is I1, we have considered it to be R1, and this we have considered it to be R2, and this is the angle of prism, and this is the angle of prism. So now if we extend this ray, in the forward direction, we have extended this ray in the forward direction. Now let us extend this ray in the backward direction. This ray we have extended in the backward direction. So this will be the angle of deviation, that is delta. This is the angle of deviation, delta. So this ray should have gone in this way, but due to this surface, due to refraction, it has gone in this way, and finally after striking this surface, this ray has gone in this way. So the angle that has deviated from this path, this ray should have gone in this way, but finally it has went in this way. So this is the angle of deviation. It has undergone deviation by this much angle, So this is the angle of deviation. And let us say this point to be, we can say this point to be, if this is A, we will say it to be B and C, and we can say this to be P, this to be Q, and this to be R, and this to be S, T, U, and let us say it to be V. And V, U, V, W. Let us say this point to be W. And let us say this point to be X. From here we will this we have set it to be X, this we have set it to be W, and this angle is A, and this point is V, R, S, T, U, Q, P, B, C. So now this delta angle will be equal to this delta angle will be equal to this delta angle will be equal to this angle plus this angle. This delta angle will be equal to this angle plus this angle. So in this case, if this delta angle is equal to this angle plus this angle, so in this case what can we say, what can we write from this side, from this diagram? What can we write from this diagram? So delta will be equal to, from this diagram, if we see in this diagram, delta will be equal to this angle plus this angle. Why? Because the external angle is equal to the sum of two internal angles. Here delta is the external angle and these two angles are the internal angles. So we can say delta is equal to the sum of these two angles. Delta is equal to the sum of these two angles. So delta will be equal to the sum of these two angles. But these two angles are nothing but the angle. If this we have set it to be, if this point we have set it to be W, if this point we have set it to be W, this point we have set it to be W, then this angle will be equal to WRS, angle WRS. This angle will be equal to WRS, and this angle will be equal to WSR. That means the external angle is equal to the sum of two internal angles. External angle is equal to the sum of two internal angles. So in this diagram we can say delta is equal to angle WRS plus angle WSR. So we can write from the diagram that delta is equal to angle, because in this triangle, if we see in this triangle, if we see in the triangle WRS, so this angle, if we have extended this side, so there will be an angle over here. So this angle will be equal to the sum of these two angles. So angle delta will be equal to angle WRS plus angle WRS plus angle WSR. WRS plus angle WSR. So the sum of two interior angle is equal to the external angle. Sum of two interior angle is equal to the external angle. So delta is the exterior angle. So now, so this was the case. So WRS can be written as I1 WRS can be written as I1 minus R1. Why? Because WRS can be written as I1 minus R1. Why? Because this is the angle of incidence. We know this is the angle of incidence, and this is another one angle. This is not angle of refraction. This as a whole, this angle as a whole is another one angle. So this angle will be equal to this angle. This angle is equal to this angle. So if this angle is I, so this whole angle will also be equal to I. This whole angle will also be equal to I. So what will be this angle then? What will be this angle then? If the whole angle is, if this angle is I1, so the whole angle will be equal to I1. So what will be this angle then? This angle will be equal to I1 minus R1. This angle will be equal to I1 minus R1. Why I1 minus R1? Because this angle is R1. So this angle will be equal to I1 minus R1. So I1 minus R1. That means angle WRS can be written as I1 minus R1 plus WSR. In the same way, WSR can be written as angle I2 minus R2. I2 minus R2. In this case, it is R2. So WSR will be equal to I2 minus R2. So this delta can be finally written as delta will be equal to I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. Now what is R1 plus R2 equal to? R1 plus R2 equal to, see, this angle, this whole angle, this plus this small angle, this angle plus this angle, that means this small angle plus this angle as a whole will be equal to 90 degree. Why? Because this is 90 degree. If this is 90 degree, then this angle is also 90 degree. If this is 90 degree, then this angle is also 90 degree. And if this is 90 degree, so this angle is also in the same way 90 degree. If this is 90 degree, then this is also 90 degree. Why? Because this is the perpendicular. This is the perpendicular in the same way like this, in the same way like this perpendicular. This is also perpendicular. If this angle is 90 degree, then this angle will also be equal to 90 degree. So the sum of these two angle, the sum of these two angle is equal to, the sum of these two angle will be equal to, this sum of these two angle will be equal to 180 degree. The sum of this angle, the whole angle, the sum of the whole angle, this angle, the sum of the whole angle, this angle plus this angle will be equal to 180 degree. Now if we see this quadrilateral, that is the quadrilateral, this point we have set it to be A, this angle we have set it to be A. So ARVS, ARVS, ARVS. So if we see in the quadrilateral, if the sum of these two angle is 180 degree, if the sum of these two angle is 180 degree, so what will be the sum of the other two angle? If the sum of these two angle is 180 degree, if the sum of these two angle is 180 degree, what will be the sum of the other two angle? The sum of the other two angle will also be equal to 180 degree, because the sum of the whole angle in a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degree. The sum of the whole angle in a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degree. The sum of these two angle is equal to 180 degree. The sum of these two angle is equal to 180 degree. So what will be the sum of these two angle? The sum of these two angle will also be equal to 180 degree then, because the sum of the whole angle as a whole, the sum of the whole angles of a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degree. The sum of these two angle is equal to 180 degree. Then the sum of these two angle will also be equal to 180 degree. Then 180 plus 180 will be equal to 360. So what can we say? Then we can say angle A plus angle RVS is equal to 180 degree. Angle A plus angle RVS is equal to, angle A plus angle RVS is equal to 180 degree. Now RVS can be written as, RVS is equal to 180 minus angle A, 180 minus angle A. RVS can be written as 180 minus angle A. So R1 plus R2. Now we have written this as in the side. We have written this in the side. So now if we see in the triangle RVS, so we have found RVS, angle RVS we have found. Angle RVS is equal to 180 minus A. Angle RVS we have found from this equation to be 180 minus A. Now if we see in the triangle RVS, so what we will get in the triangle? In triangle RVS, if we see in the triangle RVS, so we will see that R1 plus R2 plus angle RVS is equal to 180 degree. R1 plus R2 plus angle RVS, R1 plus R2 plus angle RVS is equal to 180 degree. Now R1 plus R2 plus RVS. What is RVS? What we have found from RVS? RVS we have found it to be 180 minus A. So we will put this value, in this equation. We will put this value, that is the value of RVS, in this equation. So what we will get then? R1 plus R2 plus 180 degree minus A is equal to 180 degree, is equal to 180 degree. R1 plus R2 plus 180 degree minus A is equal to 180 degree. So I am rubbing this portion. So now this R1 plus R2 plus 180 degree minus A is equal to 180 degree. This equation now can be written as, I am writing from here to here because I don't have space over here. So R1 plus R2 can be finally written as R1 plus R2 can finally be written as from this equation R1 plus R2 can finally be written as 180 degree minus 180 degree 180 degree 180 degree minus a 180 degree minus a. R1 plus R2 can finally be written from this equation as 180 degree minus 180 degree minus a. So this implies R1 plus R2 is equal to this 180 gets cancelled. So finally a will remain. So R1 plus R2 will be equal to 180 minus 180 gets cancelled. So minus gets plus. So R1 plus R2 will be equal to a. R1 plus R2 will be equal to a. So we have got in the previous, if you see if you make forward for the video, if you make the video forward, then you will see the equation delta was equal to I1 plus I2 minus I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. This we have got this equation previously. So I have robbed this equation, so I am writing that equation again. So R1 plus R2 we have got it to be a. So what will be delta then? Delta can be finally written as I1 plus I2 minus a. Why? Because R1 plus R2 is equal to a. So if we put the value of R1 and R2 in this equation, then what we will get for delta? Delta will be equal to I1 plus I2 minus a. So this is the equation for delta. This is the equation for delta. Okay. So I am rubbing this portion also. So finally we have got the angle of deviation. In terms of angle of prism. Angle of deviation in terms of angle of prism. So this is the equation for angle of deviation. So next we will discuss angle of minimum deviation. In the next video we are going to discuss the angle of minimum deviation. What is minimum deviation? Okay. So for today, for now, it's this much. Okay.